From Roman relentlessly bullying a child in the pilot to Kendall's car crash confession that shook everyone, Succession has no shortage of some seriously jaw-dropping moments. Buckle up, because I'm about to dive into the most scandalous and shocking ones of them all, starting with the time when the family therapist takes a tip into the pool. Now, this moment was just too insane not to start with, because it made for the perfect analogy. Imagine this. The Roy family's dysfunction is splashed all over the media, and Logan's brilliant idea is to orchestrate a faux family getaway, complete with a therapy session, all for the sake of some staged photos. And that's when this face-palm-worthy scene unfolds. The poor, unsuspecting therapist, clearly feeling the good vibes, gets invited to take a dip in the pool. Maybe he thought he'd make a big splash, but he definitely didn't expect the water to be that shallow. Sort of like the Roys themselves. He dives headfirst into the pool, and crunch! There goes his entire set of front teeth. Ouch. I can't help but wince just thinking about it.
Just go for it. You know?
I know how to dive.
Yeah, you gotta jump.
Oh, you want me to jump?
Jump, you f***ing pussy. Jump.
But just when you think the Roys can't get any more dysfunctional, they manage to one-up themselves. This is why the show is so damn addictive. And speaking of absolutely bonkers moments on the show, let's go all the way back to the pilot where it all started. In the very first episode of Succession, the Roys decide to embark on what's supposed to be a bonding exercise. They all head out for a family softball game that's pretty much doomed from the start. When Kendall has to go, leaving his spot on the team wide open, who better to fill it than Roman? Now Roman, being the impulsive wild card he is, spots this adorable kid from a family that's definitely not part of the Roy's elite 0.001% club. So he decides to make things a little more interesting. He offers the little guy $1 million if he can hit a home run. I'm not gonna lie, this moment had me on the edge of my seat. I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, the Roy clan will show a hint of compassion for this child. But come on, this is Succession we're talking about. So of course, they don't. Roman mercilessly taunts the poor kid, shredding $1 million check right in front of his tearful face. The devastated child heads back to his family, who then get handed a fancy watch and, wait for it, a non-disclosure agreement to keep their mouths shut about the whole thing. Classic Roy move. But if you think Season 1 was crazy, Season 2 took it to a whole other level. I mean, do you guys remember Kendall's rap? Honestly, the whole season is just packed with wild moments for Kendall, and L to the OG is definitely one of them. I mean, sure, the guy had to face some pretty unfortunate situations, but this moment sticks out because of how totally absurd it was. It's Logan's 50th anniversary bash, and our man Kendall decides it's the perfect time to bust out a rap. Yeah, you heard me, a rap. He's basically giving his dad props while also kind of dissing his legacy, all wrapped up in a sick beat. And Kendall's wardrobe choice really takes the cake. He's rocking a baseball uniform and a bow tie, which just adds a whole new layer of craziness to this already bizarre performance. The reactions from the crowd are priceless. Shiv's losing it with laughter. Connor's jaw is practically hitting the floor. And Logan, well, he's doing his best to keep a straight face. But we all know his mind is racing, thinking of a billion ways to contain this. Trust me, this scene is on a whole new level of awkward. And yet, like a car crash, you can't look away from. You just can't help but watch it over and over again. It's so bad, it's good. And speaking of car crashes, but let's move on to one of the heavier moments of the show. So here's what goes down. Kendall's out partying with this waiter from Shiv and Tom's wedding. They hop in a car, even though they're both pretty wasted. And suddenly, bam, they crash into a lake. Kendall manages to escape, but the waiter, sadly, doesn't make it.
Look out!
Kendall's got this heavy secret weighing him down, but he doesn't tell anyone about it. Deep down though, you can tell he's falling apart. Finally, he just can't take it anymore and spills the beans to his dad in a heart-wrenching moment. I mean, you can't help but feel for him. Unless you're his dad, of course. Logan, being the manipulative mastermind he is, uses this tragedy to his advantage. He keeps Kendall's secret and reassures him that it'll all be okay. But now he's got some serious leverage over his son, and he uses it to make him call off the takeover with Stewie and Gil. Pretty twisted, but not as messed up as Boar on the floor. Oh man, this episode has got to be one of those TV moments that's so difficult to watch. You can't help but burst into laughter. It all starts at a dinner party where Logan's playing detective, trying to sniff out who spilled insider info to a biographer. So what does he do? He takes humiliation to a whole new level. He forces Greg, Tom, and Carl to get down on their hands and knees, crawl around on the floor, oink like pigs, and beg for sausages held up high by a super amused Roman. Logan's got a point when he says there are no rules to this game, because this scene is just pure, unfiltered chaos. It's the perfect example of the show at its wildest, when it's not the crazy scandals, it's the extreme awkwardness that makes Succession so interesting. Like the time Tom eats Logan's chicken. The cruise division of the company has been up to some seriously shady stuff for years, covering up heinous crimes like sexual assaults and even murders. When Tom catches wind of these horrific incidents, instead of going to the police or his bosses, he chooses a different path. He decides to destroy the incriminating documents detailing the crimes. And who does he rope into this mess? Poor Greg, of course. So now they're both stuck in this high-stakes game of will they or won't they get caught. The suspense is honestly unbearable, but the truth finally comes to light when one of the big papers publishes a bombshell investigative piece that blows the lid off the whole scandal. Now, with the cat out of the bag, the family's got to find a scapegoat to take the fall for this disaster. When it's suggested that maybe Tom and Greg should be the fall guys, Tom just can't take the pressure anymore. He totally snaps and acts out by devouring Logan's precious chicken. Yep, you heard that right. The dude just goes to town on Logan's lunch. Honestly, this is one of the funniest moments in Succession, only second to the whole Kendall versus Logan dynamic. That leads to some pretty hilarious and sometimes intense storylines in the show. Does the season 2 finale ring any bells? Honestly, there are very few TV moments that can compare to the pure adrenaline rush and jaw-dropping shock of Kendall's epic announcement at the end of season 2. The scene starts with everyone expecting Kendall to take the fall for a whole bunch of harassment and mismanagement accusations against Waystar Royko. But just when you think you know what's coming, he pulls the rug out from under us all with a single "but" and turns against his own dad. This comes after a whole season of Kendall being this wormy, obedient little son. So seeing him finally unleash the fire within is a total shocker for everyone. And can you believe this is the cliffhanger they left us on? Pure torture. Anyway, those were some of the most shocking moments in Succession so far.